how can we actually help more people at a more consistent capacity with what kind of content? And so that was really how it evolved. We took that step into formulating the same system, but creating it equally consistent each week for that weekly show. And the team's been doing it ever since, but also, of course, paying attention to the algorithms and shifting when we need to.
Hi, and welcome to Speaker Life. I'm your host, Leah Woodford, and with me today is, wow, she is amazing. She is Tamara Thompson, and she's created Broadcast Your Authority. Welcome to the show, Tamara.
Oh, thank you for having me, Leah. I'm super grateful to be here.
For those of you who don't know, Tamara is a podcast expert, but she's also my podcast and YouTube expert and has been working with me behind the scenes. So I am so grateful, and I've learned a lot from you.
Oh, well, we're grateful for the opportunity to work with you on this and launch your show and, get your YouTube numbers up and all the fun stuff that we do with Broadcast Your Authority.
So, Tamara, there's a lot of people that have a lot of misconceptions about podcasting. Can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of misconceptions. I think one of the most common one I would say is, am I too late to the game to start a podcast, right?
That a lot.
And I would definitely say that's not true because of the fact that there's actually over 4 million podcasts created globally. But as of the stats of this last year, they've now recognized that there's over 500 million listeners to podcasts. So if you think about it, 4 million podcasts, 500 million listeners. So there's a lot of opportunity for growth for shows to be found.
There's definitely some runway there. But let me ask you this. I hear that most people quit after 8.
That is definitely a stat that's popular out there. I think a lot of people, they get excited about starting a show and they're like, they're like, I'm going to record all these episodes. Maybe they batch record like we do with our shows, right? We always suggest like batch recording is great because it helps you put aside some time, get a bunch of content, and then it opens up and frees your time for everything else that you're doing. So we always say like batch record. But I think when people like launch a show, but they don't have a strong content marketing background or a marketing background in general, what is the show about? Is it a focus for a hobby? Is it for your business? We work primarily with businesses, right? So we have a very strategic aspect where you want to lead them back to the show, but you also want to introduce them to everything else that's going on with the brand. So like you have this great podcast, Speaker Life, but it also relates to other things you have. Speaker Life magazine, there's so many things that you're doing under the Speaker Life media brand. So that's really what we do and help people with. So if people don't even have a focus of where the podcast is going, I think people can give up easily.
Well, thank God we got past the 8 show minimum.
I know. I think we're on like 12 or 14.
Yeah.
So they're in the queue. So, and here we're recording some today. So, yeah.
I really held myself back from YouTube and podcasting for a long time. I come from a corporate media, and it's really different.
Broadcasting. Yeah.
It is really, really different. And I had to really kind of not talk myself into it, but I had to ease into it. It took me 3 years to really...
You're like, what is this YouTube beast, right?
I know. I think a lot of people like myself, it's like, how do I compete with cute dancing kitties,
Well, I mean, and that's another misconception too. So some people still see YouTube at this mark of like dancing cat videos or parkour videos or whatever.
That parkour was awesome.
I know friends that did parkour videos, but that was really back in the day. So if you really think about it now, a lot of people are utilizing YouTube as a resource to look up things from how to this to the do-it-yourself this to how to gain information about XYZ and some kind of business, and so that's really what people are searching for. And because YouTube is owned by Google, you literally have these two pieces of, search platforms that are combined together. So we've actually had clients that literally have written us and they're like, so I just realized that my podcast playlist from YouTube is on the top page of Google when I search for this. And I was like, one, that's super cool, and that's a great thing that you want to see. But at the same time, we also want like they're like, is it wrong that my website's not populating? I was like, that's your website team, but we're doing something good with the YouTube side, right? But you want it to all encompass together like that. But the bigger goal is to make sure that your YouTube content's ranking, your podcast is ranking. Maybe you have your podcast playlist on your website. So there's different ways that people can funnel in to watch the show. And the backstory of how we actually got to go with YouTube first, it was funny because it all evolved together. And later on in life, I realized that it was all the things that happened in life led into Broadcaster Authority with the purpose of, one, creating short form content. Back then, we'd call them teaser videos, trailer videos, right? And it would lead to a long form piece of content. And back then, we were directing one-off projects. So like brand story trailers, documentaries, something about a brand, like, personal brands, corporations, you name it, influencers. And so we had this amazing experience where one of the teasers that we directed, all of a sudden we put it up on YouTube and we're like, well, we just let it do its thing, right? And within a matter of, I think, less than 10 days, it had 888,000 views.
Wow.
And so that really inspired us to be like, okay, we want to dive into this YouTube thing and see what happened there. We're like, let's look at the data. What did we do right on that side? And how can we amplify and duplicate this process for other people's trailers that led back to their documentaries? So we applied the process to different clients' trailers and started seeing things start to take off. And what was unique about it and really cool at the same time is we start to see these trailers take off, getting YouTube views and subscribers, but then we were leading them back to a main call to action to watch this film. And so the film started getting traction as well. And then through that process, all of a sudden we were approached by IndieFlix, which is very similar to Netflix. Mm-hmm. So they started finding our clients' documentary films and some of the films that we directed. And they said, you know what? We love these films. We'd like to acquire them to be put onto IndieFlix.
Wow.
So we allowed that to happen. And so these documentary films are like going up on IndieFlix and the YouTube channels are taking off. They're creating YouTube pages and groups that help promote the films. But we stepped back for a moment and we said, well, how can we actually help more people at a more consistent capacity with what kind of content? Because we knew just creating these teasers and trailers and documentaries were really one-off projects, but we wanted to build a business that we could scale, but also help more people consistently. And so we stepped into, my partner Danielle and I, we actually joined a mastermind group years back. And one of the mastermind members actually said, you know what, ladies, why don't you guys do podcasts for your clientele? And we said, you know what? Let's do it. So she was actually our first client coming into the system, focused around video podcasting. But because we knew YouTube so well, it had to be video. It had to be video podcasting. But a lot of people, as we know, they get nervous on camera. Maybe they're not as confident. They're like, well, I'm really good, with audio. But when people watch you on YouTube, they get to know you, your mannerisms, your personality, things like that. So they connect with you at a deeper level through video. And you know that too with your broadcasting experience. Yeah. And so that was really how it evolved. We took that step into formulating the same system, but creating it equally consistent each week for that weekly show. And the team's been doing it ever since. But also, of course, paying attention to the algorithms and shifting when we need to.
Well, and one of the things that I think maybe some people get, but a lot of people don't get is the fact that YouTube is an amazing search engine.
100%.
And, the days of paying $10,000 a month for SEO are gone. People are going to find you on social media, and YouTube is just right up there.
It's just one piece. And the cool thing about it, though, is like we focus on the organic front, but we also have the opportunity for the paid ads side of it, too. So leveraging YouTube and Google, you don't have to start out first with ads as you're getting launched. You want to pay attention to the data in the back end, especially the first day after or month after launch, I would say, is like, what were the content that took off? Was it because you had a guest that's highly sought after? Is it that person's keyword? Is it something about speaking engagements or becoming a public speaker? Or, we're analyzing that stuff, especially for Speaker Life. It's like, well, what was the content that took off the most? And then we relate that. Robert Kiyosaki was one of the highly sought after pieces, but his name is also highly searched each month, right? Okay. And so not just his name, but Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So there's different elements of keywords that the team goes in and adds there, but also pays attention to the data, right? And so each month we say, hey, Leah, these were the top performing videos and this is why. And so then we say, hey, the next time you record your awesome, episodes in the studio, we say, this is what we suggest more of. And so that's where we lead with intention and keywords for our clients.
Awesome. Well, you're going to have to come back, Tamara, because we're out of time, but we have so much to cover. Will you come back?
Of course, 100%.
This has been Leah Woodford with Speaker Life, and please hit the like and subscribe button.